So you're thinking of buying a Nikon D5000, 5300, or 5500, or you're considering buying the Nikon D3000, 3400, and you're wondering which one should I buy? So I got a comment in one of my videos asking me, is it better to buy the D3400 or the Nikon D53 or 5500? And if you can't tell by this video, I'm actually still recording on my D5200, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to talk about whether or not you should buy the D5300 model or the D3400. Although both Nikon D3400 and the D5300 are roughly around the same price point, being the D5000 model may get $100 or $200 more, it depends on your first question. What do you want to do with your camera? If you want to shoot videos, I highly recommend the D5000 model over the D3400 model or the D3000 model. Why? Because even with my D5200, there's certain things that this camera has that the D3000 line does not. If you're like me and you're specifically using Nikon cameras for video, then I would much recommend the D5000 models. I myself has personally used the D3000 model, and although it has an APS-C sensor at 24.2 megapixels like every other standard Nikon camera, the D5000 models feature things like an articulating screen, an external mic output, and although the battery life isn't as long as the D3000 models, the D5000 models is meant more for video-centric people like me or yourself, and the D3000 model is much more for, I would say, your family portrait type of photos, and it isn't a video emphasis type of camera. Although Nikon itself is known much more for photos, if you choose a D3000 model, I highly do not recommend that camera if you plan on shooting videos. Because when it comes to shooting videos, one, you need an LCD screen, because whether or not you need to filming YouTube videos and you need to see the articulating screen and you're able to view it at different angles, and you need audio. One of the crucial points of filming video is you need some kind of external mic. So the D3000 model does not have an external mic output, which is a huge letdown if you're in my shoes and you need to film audio, because that means you would rely on the camera's internal body audio system. So to sum up this really quick video, whether or not you should buy a D5000 model or D3000, whether that's a 3400 versus the D53, 5500, is that if you're looking for filming specifically video on a budget, I would much recommend you buy a D5000 models for things like an articulating screen, audio input, and a little bit better ISO and low light capabilities. Whereas if you want to get a D3000 model, for example, then yes, there are workarounds when it comes to if you want to film video, professional video, maybe use it as a secondary camera, or if you really wanted to film audio, you would go with the hassle of using an external audio recorder like an H1 zoom, and then have that sync up and have that another step in your process when it comes to filming videos, which may or may not be the deal breaker for you. But if you're filming specifically videos for YouTube professionally, you want to get this as a hobbyist, and you're still within the Nikon timeline and you want to stay within the Nikon camera line, I would much recommend you buy the Nikon D5000 model, because it has features much more catered towards video people, whereas the D3000 line is much more for photocentric people that want to have the capabilities of video as a little sprinkle, but not so much get into it. Most photographers who like to use Nikons, they use their 3000, but they'd like to have that video just for the sake of needing to film video. But if your primary focus is to film video and you have those two options, I would much recommend you invest that little $100 or $200 more into the Nikon D5000 line for the things that I mentioned. Because yes, the D3000 model may take more photos or twice as much, but when you buy a Nikon D5000 model, is that you're using it for video, not so much photos. And if you're special like me, you only use it for videos. So that is my 2 cents on whether or not you should buy the D3400 or you want to stick with the D53, 55, 5600 model for Nikon videos. So I am a true Nikon user, I guess you would say, because Nikon is the first camera that I picked up, and although it's not made for specifically video, there's certainly a lot of things that I did with this camera that you're looking at, and never let your camera define you. Never let it define your creativity, never let people define you. It's all about the person behind the camera, but if you want that little more advantage or a little more higher production quality, much recommend you buy the D5300. Hopefully I said that enough times so you get the point. My name is Peter. You're watching Broke Visionary Collective, where we all start with nothing, but you can always create something.